You've been tired for so long that you've stopped noticing. Fatigue doesn't knock loudly anymore. It just sits quietly beside you, like a shadow you've learned to live with. You wake up feeling behind. You go to sleep feeling guilty. And in between, you chase productivity like it's a cure for something nameless. But what if you're not broken? What if your exhaustion isn't laziness or weakness or lack of will? What if it's a signal from your biology, your brain, your very cells asking for something deeper than just rest? Tonight, we won't talk about sleep as a habit. We'll talk about it as a healing ritual, a form of medicine your body still remembers, even if your schedule doesn't. Because sleep isn't just where the day ends. It's where the real work begins inside your blood, your brain, your memories, and you're about to learn how. If something about this already feels familiar, stay with it, like share or subscribe, not out of habit, but because this is the kind of knowledge people deserve to sleep to. And before we begin, I want to know, what does rest mean to you? Leave me a comment so I will know what's on. Your mind thus will be soft, slow, and honest. Let's begin to learn sleep science tonight. Chapter 1: How Sleep Becomes a Healing Ritual. There's something quietly sacred about the moment you close your eyes at night, not because it means rest, but because it means return. Return to the place your body has always known as home, a place where healing happens. Silently, invisibly, and without permission. You don't have to believe in it for it to work. You don't even have to want it. The moment you sleep, your body begins its work without you, like a hospital that turns on only when you're unconscious. Only. The patient, the doctor, and the entire staff is you. This is the first truth we never learned. Sleep is not passive, it's repair. And in that repair, there is a kind of mercy, because no matter how exhausted, disorganized, or disappointed you feel during the day, at night, your body offers you something profound, a chance to be made whole again. Let's start with the skin, the largest organ in the body. Every day, it gets cut, scraped, burned by sun, scratched by life. But your skin doesn't wait for your schedule to clear to heal. It waits for the signal. That signal is sleep, as you drift into deeper stages of non-REM sleep. Your body releases a surge of human growth hormone, not for growing taller, but for repairing tissue, regenerating cells, and rebuilding the micro-tears life leaves behind. Wounds close faster, inflammation slows, collagen is restored, and even your gut lining, a battlefield during stress, gets stitched back together in silence. You may not feel it, but every night you become a construction site, and yet, even deeper than that, beneath the surface of muscle and tissue, lies the command center, your brain. And here, sleep becomes something even more mystical. Have you ever noticed that the world feels cleaner after a good night's sleep? Colors sharper, decisions easier, emotions quieter. That's not just your imagination. During sleep, your brain activates a unique process, one that doesn't happen when you're awake. It's called the glymphatic system, a sanitation network that flushes out waste, toxins, and leftover neurochemicals from your waking life. Think of it as the night janitor of your mind. Every emotion you felt too hard, every decision you couldn't make, every piece of confusion clogging your clarity, swept out, quietly, repeatedly, every night. This process is so vital that, according to neuroscientist Dr. Mika Nedegard, sleep may be the only time this mental cleansing occurs. And when you don't get it, you don't just feel foggy. You feel stuck, overwhelmed, unprocessed. It's no wonder chronic sleep deprivation is linked to anxiety, depression, and even neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. Your brain simply can't detox emotionally or physically without sleep. So, when you say, "I feel better after I sleep on it," you're not being poetic, you're being accurate. But the healing doesn't stop with the brain and body. It reaches into something subtler, something quieter, something sacred. Your immune system, that silent army constantly protecting you, also reboots during sleep. Natural killer cells, T cells, cytokines, they all rise and fall in delicate orchestration, like a symphony playing beneath your skin. And research from the University of Tübingen in Germany shows that sleep enhances the ability of these immune cells to recognize and destroy infected or cancerous cells, which means every time you sleep, your body performs microscopic miracles you never see. It scans for danger. It removes threats. It prepares you to face the next day stronger, and all you have to do is rest. But here's what no one tells you. Your body cannot begin this healing ritual if it doesn't feel safe. Your nervous system is not a clock, it's a guard dog. It needs reassurance, calm, trust. And so many people lie in bed, wondering why they can't sleep, blaming themselves, scrolling for solutions, trying to will rest into existence, not realizing it's not that they're broken. It's that their body doesn't feel safe enough to let go, because safety isn't a thought. It's a chemistry. If your stress hormones are still in charge, if cortisol is still on patrol, your body won't enter the hospital. It will stay in the battlefield, hypervigilant, suspicious, on edge. And that's why the first step to better sleep isn't a supplement or a perfect bedtime routine. It's learning how to soothe the body back into trust. So, what builds trust? Softness, stillness, familiarity. A signal repeated enough times that says, "You're safe." Now, it's okay to fall apart. That signal might be a warm light, a scent you always use before bed, or even a voice like this one, gently reminding your nervous system that no one's coming to attack, that it's not too late, that you don't need to be useful to deserve rest. Sleep, at its deepest level, is not just biological, it's emotional permission. Permission to not be okay, permission to not be strong, permission to stop holding it together, so your body can put itself back together. And if you've been struggling to sleep, not just recently, but for years, there's something else you deserve to hear. You're not bad at sleep. You're just carrying too much. You weren't taught how to release. You weren't taught that your body is a place healing wants to happen. You were taught to push through, stay productive, be perfect. But your body doesn't want perfection. It wants restoration, and restoration comes in darkness, in slowness, in surrender. That's what sleep is. A nightly surrender, not to weakness, but to wisdom. Not to failure, but to faith. The faith that even when you're not in control, something inside you still knows what to do. So tonight, when you lie down, don't think of it as going to bed. Think of it as checking in, like a patient, entering a sacred space of care. The lights dim, the machines hum quietly, the body takes over, and everything you didn't get around to healing begins. Because while you sleep, the hospital opens, and inside that hospital, you are not the illness, you are the healer. To dot, and in the next chapter, you'll discover what else happens during these sacred hours. Because healing isn't just physical, it's cognitive, emotional. Sleep doesn't just repair your body, it reorganizes your mind. So we'll explore what memory really is, how your brain decides what to keep, what to forget, and how even dreams have their own logic. Come with me into Chapter 2, Memory in the Dark, How Sleep Rebuilds the Mind. Let's keep listening to what your body's been trying to say. Chapter 2, How Sleep Rebuilds the Mind. Memory is strange, isn't it? You forget your keys, but remember a random sentence someone said 5 years ago. You remember a heartbreak so clearly, but not what you had for lunch yesterday. And sometimes, you wish you could forget something, but your mind won't let go. We tend to think of memory as something solid, stored, archived neatly like files in a cabinet. But memory isn't storage, it's reconstruction. And every night, while you sleep, your brain becomes an editor. It cuts, rewrites, censors, and stitches together fragments of experience to help you make sense of your life. Sleep is where meaning gets made. It begins in the hippocampus, the brain's memory inbox. All day long, it collects moments. What someone said to you, what you learned, what you felt when you walked into that room. Tiny details your conscious mind doesn't even notice, like the smell in a hallway, or the flicker of someone's eyes. But the hippocampus can't hold it all. It's temporary, which means, unless your brain decides what's worth keeping, you'll lose it. That decision doesn't happen while you're awake. It happens while you sleep, as you drift into slow wave sleep, the deepest stage of non-REM. The hippocampus begins transferring information to the neocortex. Think of it like uploading the day into long-term memory, only the upload isn't random. It's emotional. It's filtered by relevance, by repetition, and most of all, by meaning. Have you ever noticed that things feel more clear after a night of sleep? That's not coincidence. That's consolidation. Your brain replays the moments of your day in bursts, little electrical storms, called sleep spindles, which strengthen connections between neurons and help you keep what matters. Not what was perfect, not what was planned, but what mattered, what you felt. And here's where it gets deeply human. Your brain doesn't just remember facts, it remembers feelings. In fact, research from the University of California shows that emotional memories, especially those connected to fear or love, are prioritized during sleep. Your brain keeps what shook you, what shaped you, what tried to teach you, which is why you sometimes wake up with a song stuck in your head, or a dream that feels like a message, or a sudden clarity about something you didn't know was bothering you, because even in sleep, your brain is asking, what am I supposed to learn from all this? But the most haunting part of memory isn't what we remember, it's what we don't. Not because it wasn't important, but because it wasn't safe to keep. Trauma can fragment memory. When something overwhelms your system, whether it's emotional neglect, heartbreak, or acute fear, your body may choose survival over encoding. You get through the moment, but you don't remember it clearly. Or you remember it too clearly, again and again, like a stuck loop. And this is where sleep becomes not just a recorder, but a therapist. During REM sleep, your brain lights up in all the places associated with emotion, imagery, and autobiographical memory. It's as if your mind opens a dreamlike theater and replays the painful moments with a softer touch. According to sleep researcher Dr. Matthew Walker, REM sleep decouples emotion from memory. It lets you remember without experiencing, like rewatching a scary film, but knowing it's just a film now. This is how sleep heals, by letting your brain feel safe enough to revisit the scene and rewrite the story, which is why trauma survivors often have disrupted sleep. It's not their fault. Their brain is trying to protect them from remembering what hasn't yet been safely felt. And then there are dreams. We treat dreams like nonsense, random, silly, but dreams are memory sandbox. They're how your brain tests combinations of meaning, connecting things you didn't know were connected, people from different parts of your life, places that never existed, moments that blend memory and metaphor. Dreams aren't meaningless. They're emotional code. They reflect not just what you know, but what you need to know. Have you ever dreamed of someone you haven't seen in years? Someone who hurt you, or someone you still miss? That's your brain inviting you to reprocess, to let go, to reframe, to love them in the only place where they still exist, your own mind. This is why dreams can heal grief, because in them you get to say the things you couldn't say, feel the things you didn't know you buried. Forgive, not them, but yourself. But here's the paradox. The more emotionally overwhelmed you are, the harder it becomes to enter this healing state. When anxiety is high, or your routine is chaotic, your sleep fragments, and without deep sleep and REM cycles, memory can't consolidate, emotions can't resolve, and you wake up unfinished. This is why sleep loss feels like heartbreak, because your brain knows it left something undone. And this is why learning how to sleep, how to really sleep, isn't a luxury. It's mental health care. So if you've been forgetful lately, or emotionally heavy, or unsure why everything feels loud even when nothing's happening, check your sleep, because sleep isn't just when we rest. It's when we make sense, and what the mind cannot make sense of, the body will try to carry. In tight shoulders, in gut issues, in fatigue that no caffeine can cure. Here's the deeper truth. You don't just sleep to remember the day. You sleep to remember who you are. Every night, your brain sorts through the noise and pulls forward what it thinks defines you, your joys, your hurts, your values, your fears. So what happens when your life is so busy, so distracted, so performance-driven, that your sleep never gets deep enough to filter any of it? You lose pieces of yourself, not all at once, but gradually, like a story with missing pages. But here's the beautiful news. The pages can be restored. Memory is plastic. Healing is possible, and sleep is always willing to help if we let it. So tonight, give your brain a chance to clean the film reel, to reorganize the scenes, to reconnect the dots you've been too tired to notice. You don't need to do anything, just sleep, and trust that deep inside you, there's a system still trying to remember your story, truthfully, gently, completely. And in the next chapter, we'll go deeper, because memory is just the beginning. What about emotion? What about the weight of things we don't talk about, but still feel every day? Grief, anxiety, heartbreak, shame. Can sleep actually heal those too? In Chapter 3, we'll explore how REM sleep becomes your nightly therapist, not just helping you remember your emotions, but finally letting you release them. So come, lie down. The journey continues in the dark. Chapter 3, How REM Sleep Processes Emotion. There are wounds we carry that time doesn't seem to touch. Wounds from words, from silence, from being seen too much or not enough, from things we thought we were over until we heard that song, saw that street, or woke up feeling heavy for no reason at all. These aren't just emotional memories. They're unfinished processes. And every night, your brain tries again, to file them, to feel them, to free you from them, not through logic, but through dreaming, because what therapy does for the waking mind, REM sleep does for the unconscious. 1. You've probably heard of REM sleep before, short for rapid eye movement. It's the sleep stage when dreams become vivid, strange, cinematic. But it's also when your brain does something even more important. It feels safely. During REM, your amygdala, the brain's emotional alarm system, becomes highly active. It lights up with memory, mood, and meaning. But here's the miracle. Your body is paralyzed. Your stress hormones stay low. You're emotionally engaged, but biologically calm. That's like watching your scariest memory without running from it, without freezing, without being overwhelmed. Your mind becomes a theater of emotional reprocessing, and your dreams, the rehearsal space. So, what does this mean? It means that every night, your brain gives you the one thing you never get during the day, a safe space to feel. No deadlines, no expectations, no masks. And in that safety, it returns to the unresolved, not to torment you, but to finish the conversation. Let's imagine something familiar, a breakup that happened years ago, one that was never fully explained. No closure. You went on. You healed mostly. But sometimes, in your dreams, they're still there, laughing, leaving, looking at you with the same confusion you carried for months. It's not regression. It's reprocessing. Your brain brings it back, not to torture you, but to help you feel it differently, from a new angle, with new context, with the emotional distance that only time and sleep can offer. And over time, it softens. It stops appearing. It lets go not because you forced it to, but because your mind finally believed it was safe to move on. This is the quiet genius of REM sleep. It blends the past with the present. It merges memory with metaphor. And in that strange, often surreal logic of dreaming, you begin to understand your pain in a new language, a language of symbols, a language of safety. You might dream of drowning, only to realize you've been overwhelmed at work. You might dream of running, only to wake up and face what you've been avoiding. You might dream of your childhood home because a part of you still lives there. Dreams don't always tell the truth plainly, but they tell the emotional truth, the kind your waking mind often avoids. Now, imagine if this process were disrupted. No REM, no dreams, or fragmented sleep that never lets you finish the emotional sentence. This isn't rare. In fact, it's the daily reality for anyone living with chronic stress, PTSD, anxiety, or depression. Because when your body is constantly producing cortisol, the stress hormone, your sleep architecture changes. You spend less time in REM. You wake up feeling tired, unprocessed, and here's the paradox. The very emotions you need sleep to heal are the same ones keeping you from sleep. So what can you do? You don't fix it by chasing more hours. You fix it by inviting more safety. And safety doesn't mean silence. It doesn't mean pretending everything's okay. It means honesty, gentleness, ritual, a warm bath, a screen turned off 30 minutes early, a voice in the dark, like this one, saying, "You're allowed to be tired. You're allowed to let go." Because when your body feels safe, REM comes back. And when REM comes back, so does your ability to feel, process, and transform what once overwhelmed you. There's one more miracle worth mentioning. Research from the University of California shows that REM sleep also regulates emotional memory intensity. That means the more REM you get, the the more your brain can keep the memory, but reduce the pain. You don't forget what happened. You just don't feel ruled by it. It's like the difference between a fresh wound and a healed scar. The mark is there, but it doesn't bleed anymore. And here's something even deeper. Dreams aren't just for healing the past. They're rehearsal. Spaces for the future. REM sleep activates parts of your brain involved in social understanding, empathy, and problem solving. You practice conversations. You simulate conflict resolution. You build emotional resilience. Your brain rehearses how to love, how to protect, how to stand up for yourself. And the next morning, without realizing it, you're braver. This is why we say, sleep on it. Because your sleeping mind is often wiser than your waking one. So if you've been emotionally numb lately, or easily triggered, or carrying grief that seems to have no outlet, check your sleep. Ask yourself, am I giving my body the safety it needs to dream? Am I creating space to feel, not just during the day, but in the dark? Because feeling is not weakness. Feeling is release. And REM is your body's way of helping you feel without breaking. And when you start to heal in sleep, something surprising happens. You stop needing the world to slow down. You stop needing others to finally understand you, because your body already did. Your mind already did. While you were resting, you were also rewriting. And those dreams you thought were nonsense, they were therapy, private, patient, and powerful. So tonight, when you close your eyes, don't resist the dreams. Let them come. Let them confuse you. Let them move you. They are your mind's love letters to itself. The evidence that you are still processing, still growing, still capable of softness, even in the dark. In the next chapter, we'll talk about something people rarely understand, but often fear. Why you're still tired even when you sleep, because maybe you're not broken. Maybe your exhaustion isn't laziness. Maybe your body is burning energy on survival mode. In chapter 4, the energy lie, why you're not lazy, just unrested, we'll explore burnout, dopamine, and why your body feels like it's giving up, even when you haven't. Come rest. There's still more to uncover. Chapter 4. Why you're not lazy, just unrested. You wake up, and you're still tired. Not the kind of tired that goes away after a coffee. The kind of tired that lives in your bones. The kind that makes simple things, texts, decisions, standing up, feel like climbing uphill with no end in sight. So, you ask yourself, what's wrong with me? Why can't I get it together? Am I just lazy? But here's the truth, no one told you when you needed it most. Laziness is a lie, a shallow name we give to misunderstood exhaustion. Because your body is not broken. It's in defense mode. What you call laziness might actually be burnout. What you call procrastination might be your brain's way of protecting you from depletion. What you call failure might just be unmet biological need. Let's go back to biology. Every single task you do, from brushing your teeth to replying to a message, requires energy. And that energy doesn't come from motivation. It comes from a neurochemical engine. Dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine. When your brain is balanced, that engine runs smoothly. Tasks feel manageable. Desire flows. Energy moves. But when you're chronically stressed, underslept, and emotionally overloaded, that engine breaks down. You try to will yourself into productivity, but willpower isn't fuel. It's a matchstick, and your brain is out of wood. In neuroscience, there's a term called allostatic load. It describes the cumulative wear and tear on the body and brain from being in a constant state of stress. Think of it like this: every time you don't sleep enough, every time you ignore your emotions, every time you push through fatigue instead of resting, you add another stone to the backpack your nervous system is carrying. Eventually, your body says, enough, and that shutdown isn't laziness. It's protection. It's your biology hitting the brakes before you run off a cliff. This is why rest doesn't always feel like it works, because you're not just tired from today, you're tired from 5 years ago, from every sleepless night, every ignored signal, every fight or flight response that never had time to come down. You're tired because you never stopped surviving, and no 8 hours of sleep won't fix that instantly, because true energy isn't just about rest, it's about recovery, and recovery begins when your body feels safe, enough to exit survival mode. But here's the confusing part. The world rewards you when you ignore your needs. When you hustle, push, perform, you get applause, promotions, praise. But your body doesn't care about your resume. It cares about rhythm, regulation, repair. So when you slow down, when you finally try to sleep or rest, you don't immediately feel better. You might actually feel worse at first, heavier, foggy, emotional. That's not failure. That's your system, reboot, ing. The numbness wears off. The backlog of feelings shows up. The repairs begin. Let's talk dopamine. Dopamine isn't just about pleasure, it's about drive. It's what moves you toward goals, ideas, people. But chronic stress and sleep loss lower dopamine levels, which means you want to do the thing, but you can't find the spark. This is why people with burnout often say, I know what I need to do, but I just can't. Because knowing isn't the problem. The problem is biochemical, and until your body gets what it needs, deep rest, nutrition, safety, regulation, the dopamine won't come back. Not from willpower, not from shame, only from recovery. Here's a softer way to think about it. Imagine your energy like a bank account. Every day you make withdrawals, thinking, feeling, responding, existing. But if you don't make deposits through sleep, play, connection, meaning you go into energetic debt, and in debt everything costs more. Getting out of bed, expensive. Talking to someone, expensive. Being kind to yourself, nearly impossible, so you shut down. Not because you don't care, but because your system is overdrawn, and what you need is not guilt, it's credit. And the only credit that counts is restorative rest. But rest is different from sleep. You can sleep 8 hours and still wake up empty if your mind never feels safe, if your cortisol never settles, if your dreams are flooded with unresolved tension. So real rest isn't just about how long you sleep, it's about the quality of it, the depth, the rhythm, the chemistry. And you only get that kind of sleep when your body receives signals that say, you are safe now, the war is over, you can let go. Which brings us to something deeper, meaning. Studies show that people who live with purpose, even a small one, report higher energy, better sleep, and lower cortisol. Not because they work less, but because their energy is aimed. You're not tired from doing too much. You're tired from doing things that don't feel aligned. So maybe the cure for exhaustion isn't just sleep. Maybe it's truth, the kind that comes when you listen to your own needs, when you stop performing and start healing. So if you're feeling behind in life, if every task feels like too much, if you keep calling yourself lazy, unmotivated, or broken, pause, and ask yourself, what if my body is just tired of pretending? What if I've been surviving for so long? I forgot what real energy feels like, because the truth is, you were never designed to be on all the time. You were designed to pulse, to ebb and flow, to rise and rest. And if your rest has been shallow, if your nights have been anxious, if your dreams have felt distant, then no wonder your days feel heavy. But here's the hope. Your energy is not gone. It's just hiding, waiting for you to stop chasing, to stop blaming, to stop running long enough for it to come home. And home begins in sleep. Not just any sleep, but the kind that rebuilds, that recalibrates, that reminds you, you are not a machine. You are a rhythm, a being, a breath. So tonight, don't just aim for rest, aim for repair. Do one small thing to tell your nervous system, you're safe now. It's okay to slow down, because you're not lazy, you're not broken, you're not behind, you're just tired. And that's something we can heal in the next chapter. We'll talk about the healing itself, not just physically or emotionally, but spiritually, because sleep isn't just a habit, it's a relationship. And if you've ever struggled with sleep, it might be because your relationship with rest has been built on fear, not trust. In Chapter 5, Becoming Restable, How to Make Peace with Sleep Again, we'll gently walk back to the place where rest becomes safe again. Let's keep going. Chapter 5, How to Make Peace with Sleep Again. There comes a point in every journey, whether physical, emotional, or biological, when the effort to force a solution begins to backfire. When chasing more sleep, better sleep, perfect sleep, starts to feel just as exhausting as the insomnia itself. Because the truth is, you cannot force the body to rest in a state of fear. You cannot heal the nervous system with shame, and you cannot receive sleep if your mind doesn't feel safe enough to surrender. So, what does it mean to become restable? It's not a medical term, it's not a checklist, it's a relationship. One between you and the dark, you and the quiet, you and that part of yourself that remembers what it's like to feel safe in stillness. And like any relationship, restability takes trust. Step 1. Reclaiming safety. Let's begin here, because this is the part no one tells you. Sleep is not just a behavior. It's a biological trust fall. Your body only allows deep sleep when it believes it is safe enough to let go of control. Control over thoughts, surroundings, and even time. But how can you rest if you were raised in chaos? If your mind learned that calmness was the calm before a storm? If the only time you slowed down was when you were punished, broken, or depressed? Many people struggle with sleep not because they're doing something wrong, but because somewhere deep inside they never felt safe doing nothing. So the first step in becoming restable is not fixing your sleep. It's fixing your relationship to stillness, to silence, to softness. It's teaching your nervous system that nothing is coming. No punishment, no danger, no judgment, just breath, just quiet, just now. Step 2. Rest without earning. We live in a world that worships productivity, a culture where rest must be earned, and even then, only in ways that feel justifiable. But sleep doesn't work like that. Your cells don't check your to-do list. Your hippocampus doesn't care how many emails you answered. Your immune system doesn't wait for a day off to begin repair. In nature, all beings rest when they're tired, not when they're finished. You do not need to deserve sleep. You only need to be alive. That's it. That's the price of admission. You do not owe the world exhaustion, to prove your worth. You were not put on this earth to live tired. Step 3. Releasing control. Insomnia often disguises itself as perfectionism. You lie in bed, heart racing, replaying conversations, mapping tomorrow, negotiating with your past. It's not because you're broken. It's because your brain thinks it must solve everything before letting go. Because if it rests, it fears something will fall apart. But here's the truth your body longs to hear. Not everything needs to be figured out tonight. Some things will still be unclear tomorrow, and that's okay. Sleep is not a reward for finishing. It's a container for continuing. A place where your mind gets to hand the wheel to your biology and trust it will still be there in the morning. And that's what becoming restable looks like. Trusting that healing can happen even if you're not watching it. Trusting that progress exists even in the dark. Step 4. Creating a ritual, not a routine. Many people chase a perfect sleep routine. Blackout curtains, blue light blockers, lavender sprays. And while those things can help, they are not enough. Because they are external, what you need is an internal ritual. One that tells your body, I'm safe now, I can let go. One that signals, the war is over for today. This ritual doesn't need to be complex. It can be as simple as a sentence you whisper to yourself. Nothing is required of me anymore tonight. Or a gentle hand on your chest as you breathe slowly. Or turning off your phone, not because it's bad, but because you're not available for stimulation anymore. Rest is not the absence of doing. It is the presence of surrender, and rituals help you return to that presence again and again, until your body begins to believe it. The gentle invitation. You don't have to fix everything tonight. You don't have to change your whole sleep pattern this week. You don't even have to fall asleep quickly. All you have to do is approach rest with softness, not control, with curiosity, not shame, with presence, not pressure. Becoming restable means becoming reachable by your own biology. It means remembering that your body knows what to do, if you'll just stop interrupting it with worry. So tonight, instead of trying to conquer sleep, let it come to you. Invite it in. Let it wrap around you, not as a task, but as a gift. You are not lazy. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are healing. And every night, your body tries again. That is grace. That is strength. That is sleep. Maybe the most powerful healing isn't loud, or quick, or dramatic. Maybe it's something that happens slowly, in the quiet, while no one's watching, as your body whispers to itself, you're safe now. Sleep is not just what we do at the end of the day. It's a ritual of return, a return to wholeness, a return to self, a return to all the parts of you that got scattered in the noise of living. So if you've ever felt broken, or behind, or like you should be stronger by now, let this be your reminder. You're not lazy, you're not weak, you're tired, and it's okay. You deserve rest that feels like love. You deserve a night that doesn't feel like failure. You deserve to lie down and be held by something ancient, kind, and real. And tonight, maybe you let yourself believe it. If something in this video made you feel understood, or made you feel seen in your exhaustion, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear what part of this stayed with you, and what sleep now means to you after hearing this. Because sometimes the most healing thing we can do for each other is say, me too. And now, no more pressure, no more fixing, no more trying to keep up, just breathe. You've made it through the day, and it's time now to come home to yourself. Good night.